go.
All right, here we go.
We're going to start with laughing. Why not? It'll be
It's
good stuff. What else?
the best place to start. It
It
really
is.
is.
And you do yoga, so we're just going to do a little bit of what is it?
Laughter,
Yoga?
laugh yoga, and a little bit of breathing, and
A lot of
a little bit
breathing.
of grounding.
Mm.
We'll do it all. We can do it all today.
It's going to be fun. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. It is showing that we are live on Facebook, which it's good that we weren't live a few minutes ago, but that's okay. We started off.
Not everybody can do what we do. Some people get paid for it.
Yep, and more people are going to be getting paid for it because that's why we're here, is to encourage more women to step into what they're supposed to be doing. And Jill, I think you're going to be talking a little bit about that. My name is Barbara Bolton Schreiber, for those who don't know me, and I am the founder of Sisters Rocking Courage. And the reason Sisters Rocking Courage, the reason I put it together is because I spent 25 years in nonprofit learning how to market and how to bring out the emotions and the messaging that we use, because that's how it is that people end up supporting and really creating raving fans. So I met up with Jill. Jill and I have always, back in Pennsylvania, we were always in similar circles, working a nonprofit with that same heart. And so it's just really fun, Jill. This is such an honor. I just love being here with you. I love the laughter. I love our conversations. So today we're going to be talking about arriving at enough, which is such a powerful conversation for women. But let me hand it over to you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hi, everybody. Barb, I just can't thank you enough, because thank you enough. Here we go again. We'll just get started there, and everybody's going to get sick of hearing the word enough. But, we have people who come into our lives. People flow in, people flow out. You and I have kind of flowed in about 20 years ago, and then you moved. We still kind of on the fringe, hey, how you doing kind of thing. Followed you, LinkedIn, and then boom, here you are again in my life. And
followed you, LinkedIn, and then sorry about that. That's keep going.
That's okay. I heard myself in the background there, but that's all right too. But people come in and out of your life. And I have been blessed with so many people who have been in my life, during my nonprofit, actually through my whole career of, starting at Rand Derrick back when I was 15,
Rand Derrick, yes.
Yeah, I know. That's a word from the past, isn't it? and then I'm going to sit there and go, peoples, and people are going to go, what was that? Some are going to go, oh yeah, well, that was before CBS. Yeah, so I don't know where you start. I have such a diverse background. I have been so blessed. And most of mine is the experiences. It's, taking that adventure, saying yes more than saying no. Some have been good yeses, some have not. But it's all part of the journey. And that's what arriving to enough came about. That's how it came about. So.
Yeah, and it's those blessings in, even when we said yes and it was harder than we thought it was going to be.
Yes.
It's knowing that we had enough inside of us to push through, to get through, and even outside, that we have the right people around us that were there when we needed them, right?
Right. And they come in all shapes and forms. Some of them are people who are not positive people. Everybody has something to contribute to your journey.
One of my favorite sayings is the teacher arrives when the student is ready. And so we have teachers around us all the time. There's a bunch of people joining in right now. We have Linda Friday, Crystal Zweizig, Maliva Langle, and there's a couple more. So I just, ladies, as you're watching, if you have questions for Jill or for me, we're going to talk a little bit more about the nonprofit side, just because that's where, but whether it's a nonprofit or a small business or an entrepreneur, there's so many commonalities. We can make the jokes about how small businesses don't really make a lot of profit, but it really is about feeling it, leaning in to where we are in the moment, and really being in a space that that feels right for us. We met a couple weeks ago at that little Italian market.
Yes. Wasn't that awesome in Baltimore? And I think we
Yes,
should have a big party there one time.
absolutely. And what was so fascinating about it was when you walked into the market. Well, you can tell your fascinating story because you found them on Diners, Dives, and that on the
Drive-ins and
TV, yeah,
dives,
Drives and
yes.
Dives. So what was fascinating about it is when you walked in, it had a feeling. You knew who they were, and they were amazing. The rice balls, like just so much good food. As we step into who we are, and I'm going to pass this over to you for the arriving at enough. There are signs along the way for if we're heading in the right direction.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Linda is a chamber executive director here, and she said it's rewarding, and over the past 18 months we've had to pivot. That's what we're all experiencing, right?
Oh, it's all about pivoting. It is all about pivoting, and it's pivoting. Pivoting doesn't mean that you are going to go 360 or that you're going to go 180. It could just be that tiny millisecond of a degree.
Yeah.
Just shifting. And that's really where my journey with enough, by arriving at enough, has come about. It was when I finally stopped listening to the outside noise and started to listen to myself and to be open to listening to the things that are around us.
Yeah.
Because there are messages, there are signs. I mean, you can call it whatever you want to. You can call it divine intervention. You can, you can also call it when the carpet comes out from underneath your feet and you fall flat on the floor. But there are signs, but you have to be ready to listen. And that happened for me during a meditation weekend as I became part of when I became a yoga teacher. I had 9 years ago, I was in a very rough place in my life. I had a fantastic job that I loved. I worked for the American Red Cross, and Sandy was happening. At the same time, my husband was having a really bad surgery, and a surgery that was supposed to fix him and make his life easier. And it really ended up that it changed our lives forever. And at the same time, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. So, yeah, and then I lost my job during restructuring. So it's, yeah, it's a journey. And, all of those things could have been a very negative part of my life. And it all started with my best friend picking up the phone and going, I think you need to come to yoga with me. And I was one of those, okay, yoga is not for this body. Yoga is for skinny women who can put their leg up above their head. And she's like, no. She said, this is restorative and you have to come. And my life changed from that moment on. I had wonderful teachers in my life, wonderful yoga teachers who things just fell into place. And when I finally, you said about the teacher arriving, that is, you do know when that's going to happen. That was 9 years ago. I teach privately a few people, when they want me to do that, I'll donate my time to doing yoga, but I am not ready to become a full-time yoga instructor. That's not really where I think my journey is. I just haven't found that shift. I think I can be a someone who is not your normal yogi.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of my I guess you can call it, is a way of making people aware. It's one of the things that I absolutely love, is being a voice for people who are marginalized.
Yeah.
Whether it's mental health, whether it's somebody who's been in a fire, whether it's a young girl who's growing up, and whether it's somebody who's homeless. But for me, it's about kind of breaking those what we think are perfect norms
Yeah.
you know, what the standard should be,
Yeah.
and just relishing in the part of just sitting with who we are and accepting ourselves and realizing that we are enough
Jill,
where we are.
you said something that gave me goosebumps when your friend was saying restorative and you need to come. And isn't that, I have goosebumps again, isn't that what our journeys are? And as you're talking about speaking up for the marginalized, so often the marginalized are us also.
And we don't recognize it. We don't
Yeah.
always recognize it. Sometimes we're so busy being what somebody else's expectations are of us.
Yeah.
Being, you know, and women especially, we have so many words that describe us. Are we a mother? Are we a mother to be? Are we a entrepreneur? Are we, you know, the teacher, the grandmother,
Oh, yeah.
the nurturer, the lover?
Mm-hmm.
Are we a salesperson? Are we, you know, are we the executive? Are we the entrepreneur? Do labels really matter at the end of the day? How do we define ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And that starts with that journey of arriving and accepting ourselves for enough.
Yeah.
You know, enough is such an emotionally charged word. We say, I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
I am enough. We think that's very empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then we say, I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
Very different ways of saying it.
Yeah.
But then we also have that lovely enough is enough. You know, and that is the drawing that line in the sand. And I think that's something that women struggle with no matter where we are. Enough is enough, whether it's our relationships with our spouses or partners or our kids or our parents, or our job, where we sit there and go, enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are setting a boundary. We're setting that, we are drawing that line in the sand that says, okay, I'm defining something. And to me, I think we need to get to that point and not allow other people to have our power.
Yeah.
By what they expect out of us, what society expects about us. Women have been, you know, women especially. How many magazines, you know, I can still remember my husband and I got married, you know, I don't know, 20 some years ago. Isn't that great? I'm really bad.
Whoops.
I really got 27 years ago we got married. And our marriage has not been perfect at all by any stretch of the imagination. And it has been, you know, that was a journey in itself. But I can still remember him. We were sitting in the living room and he picked up a woman's magazine. And he said to me, he started looking through it. And he said, you know, Jill, this is really sad. He said, when I'm looking at this, it's your color of your hair isn't okay. Here are, you can change the color of your eyes with contacts. Yeah. Here's your makeup that, you know, here's all the different shades because your lips aren't okay. And here's how to dye it. Here's this, here's this. He goes, all they want to do is market to make you change, that you are not accepted as a woman. And I, you know, I never looked at our magazines that way.
Right.
Never.
I didn't either.
Ever. It's, you know, and these are empowering magazines. These are, you know, you look at Cosmopolitan, which was, you know, the thing to do, you know, Cosmopolitan is very forward thinking growing up. But at the same time, what is it all about? It's about our dresses, our clothing, our, you know, makeup, all that stuff. Change.
We have somebody, Bonnie's listening and she said she's tapping, laugh out loud, doing this, tapping for releasing the energy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really about, it's all of those things, and it's arriving at enough. And I had that moment in my life. I was at a yoga training to become a 200-hour teacher.
Wow.
And I had a weekend where I was not allowed to talk.
Oh,
No music,
oh.
no outside noise.
Mhm.
And I had to journal. And that whole weekend, it started on a Friday night. When we did our yoga, our teacher was there. We weren't even allowed to talk with the people who were with us in our class, my sisters.
Mhm.
It was go home, go to bed, come back the next morning, do some yoga, do more meditation and journaling.
Yeah.
And the word that just kept coming up for me was enough.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that is so powerful in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I just really focused in on that. And at the end of our session on that Sunday, I spoke to the group. I shared where not everybody can do that.
Mhm.
It was my time. It was my time to speak. It was my time to give that voice
Yeah.
to the word
Yeah.
and start to define it for myself. So that has been a journey for me. That was 5 years ago. And, you know, it has been a journey ever since.
Well, and you talked about it. We were saying that when you landed on that, you were talking about the shift that happened for you.
Mhm.
Like it was
I
almost.
changed.
Mhm.
I've changed. I changed to in myself. And that's where it starts, is accepting yourself.
Yeah.
That you are enough. And to really believe that I am enough. But what am I trying to define for myself?
Right.
And that's when I started to ask myself a series of questions. You know, there are people in our lives that come in and leave. You know, where was my attention being spent? Was it always trying to fit the mold of somebody else?
Right.
Was it, you know, or are those truly my own expectations? And in your, you know, in your 40s, you start to go through it. In your 50s, you've landed there. You know, that, wow, you know, who are we? That definition. Well, okay, and what defines me as a person? And you know, I go back to having and living our truths.
Yes.
You know, that is something that people it sounds so cliche, but really we get ourselves in the most trouble in our life. When I look back on my own life, I went for a job for the money.
Yeah.
I didn't compromise who I was, but I compromised some of my core values. And that didn't end well. So I really think that we need to truly know who we are. And by starting with this journey and arriving at enough, we figure out who we are. And, you know, one of the things many of my friends will tell you, that I am the same person I am today, right in front of you, as I am when I'm sitting next to you, or when I'm on the phone. And I think being authentic is so important. And that comes from confidence. And that comes from that journey of figuring out what is enough for you.
Yeah.
And to me, it's simple. It's, you know, it is doing what I say I'm going to do, being a good person, doing right by the people that I care about and love, and leaving the world a better place than I found it.
Now
And
I can,
you know,
yeah, I can say that the challenge for some women, a lot of the women that I work with, is they have the basic direction, but you're right.
Yes.
I was just in a conversation where they were talking about in the Western world, we do it backwards. We say, oh, I want to make this much money, or I want to buy this house. And then we plot our path to that, instead of saying, I'm going to stand in my truth right here, right now, and I'm going to take a step. And then I'm going to, what we work with in Sisters Rocking Courage is you take that next step and then you celebrate that step, because you don't know what the view is going to look like until you're in that space. We can't plan ahead and know what it's going to feel like.
No,
So
you can't.
you just can't. So in the Western world, we push so much. So it's that piece of really finding out and being in a safe space with other people who can, what we do is we active listen and then say, how does this work? Does this fit for you? What does this feel like? Because it can be such a struggle. Because we tend to go back to the labels, right? Well, I'm going to be,
it's all about the labels. I
I'm going to
can
be a person that
remember,
does,
yeah, I mean, I tried to be something I wasn't for so
Right.
long.
Ah.
We don't have to do that. And why did I do that? And, you can go down and you can beat yourself up, but at the end of the day, that's done. You don't need to stay in that space.
Yes.
And you need to forgive yourself for making a decision that wasn't correct for you at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, all of that is taking those experiences and learning from them. I can remember I had a job right after I got married with my husband. I was in sales, was making a ton of money. And I sat in the doctor's office and I said, what is wrong with me?
Nothing wrong.
And she said, what do you mean? I said, look at me. I'm wearing Pendleton. I'm wearing Jones of New York. I have beautiful shoes on. I drive the car of my dreams. I always wanted a Saab, a red Saab with a sunroof. Always wanted that. And, and my dad calls it my sob story. But, I said, what's wrong? And she said, Jill, she said, you don't feel it here. I was checking off all those boxes.
Right.
Of, I have a great job. I have a husband. I have a son. I live in a house, that I enjoy. I have the 2 dogs. Checking off all those boxes that were expectations of other people or that I had believed in.
Yeah, we thought that that's where our happiness would be. And then it felt
happiness
empty.
Doesn't lie there. Mm-hmm. Happiness lies here.
Mm-hmm.
It lies within ourselves. It's not outside. Mm-hmm. You can spend all the money that you want and not be happy.
Yeah.
You have to be able to really, truly look at yourself in the mirror and know who you are.
Yeah. Crystal is saying that Jill is one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. I can totally vouch for that. Yes. Yes, indeedy. So Bonnie is listening from Canada, and she had I love this insight. So she's saying, Jill, completely along with what you're saying, so we need to pivot our thinking.
We do. We need to. Well, and we need to pivot it here. First off, we have to define what is our thinking, or is it stuff that has been bombarded into us from a time that we were little? Okay, how many of us have lived the life of, we're going to be perfect in every way. When I get married, that, Prince Charming is going to come and sweep me off my feet.
Yeah.
The Disney princess, I get so angry with, because we have fed that to our girls for so long. And even before Disney, it was a man would define us and make us happy, provide for us. No. We have to find it within ourselves. And the answer is in ourselves. And that's what you need, and that is when you finally come to your truth and your own mission statement, whatever that may be, and what that looks like, your core values, and it begins with identifying that you are enough. But it also, how much money is enough, and how much clothing is enough, how much makeup is enough. And I have struggled all my life because it's never been enough.
Mhm.
Now it is too much, and I'm purging
Oh, sure.
because I don't need all of that in my life.
Right.
I need less. Less to me is more. And when you start to get rid of things and people and situations, you start to define enough. What is enough to keep me happy? What is enough to make me be able to get up in the morning and go,
Mm.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
I'm living my truth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what somebody else's expectations are for me, as long as I'm meeting my own.
Yeah. Because there's that
Because
piece. Yeah.
you have to have that. And you have to figure out what enough means. What is that for you? And as an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
you have to figure that out before you can take any steps, because
Well,
that's what your mission is based on.
there's so many visuals coming to me right now, Jill, because I'm such a visual person. One of them is, I love the story about the sculptor who somebody comes up to him and says, how do you sculpt an elephant? And he says, well, that's easy. You take away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. Right? Right?
Yes, yes.
So as we get to what is true for us, we start taking away things. And especially as I work with trauma survivors, of helping them create a business that makes an impact, spreads hope, makes an impact, and achieves financial independence. So there's that piece that you have to start taking away the things that are holding you back and letting go, releasing. This has been a year of releasing for me. You talk about
I think it has been for so many people, especially since we've been cooped up,
Yeah.
with the pandemic, and our lives changed from what the expectations were.
Yeah.
Getting up in the morning, grabbing our coffee onto work, pumping the gas, going into work, coming home and being the soccer mom, or, cleaning the laundry, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, making dinner, all of that stuff. And now that's not what we've been programmed to do.
Mm.
There's space, and space is so uncomfortable.
It can be. And it can be the biggest, most
And it's
rewarding thing.
best thing. Yeah. And it's the best thing for you because, one of the things in everybody has that just be.
Mhm.
Just sit in your space and be. That's about being aware of all your senses around you.
Mhm.
But the biggest one is about being with yourself. How comfortable are you with yourself? And that still is part of that journey of arriving at enough.
It took me 3 months of COVID quarantine. The first 3 months, I was just like, oh, this is not feeling good at all. And that's the challenge. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, it's the challenge for women to say, what is one thing we can let go of this week that will make us feel more at ease, more comfortable with us? What is one thing? It can be something you do, it can be something you have, you own. But yeah, that same space of the more you gather and collect, we don't purge our thoughts or even our feelings. And
we're very quick. Women are very quick to fill space because we're expected to do and be on. And we've been taught that it's not okay to take time for ourselves. Unless, of course, it's going for a massage, and somebody is expecting you to do that, so that we can say that we went for a massage. How many of us really are checking the boxes that matter? Sometimes being in silence is extremely comforting. And allowing that space to be empty and just kind of feel what's in that space. Who are you allowing in your space? There we go back to those boundaries. Are they good people? Do they contribute to the betterment of you, to your mission, to your world? Or are they people that you can let go because they're sucking the life out of you? And I look at us, Barb, here we are, 20 years, we've known each other, and, we ran in the same circles, but you and I connected. I think it was through Facebook, wasn't it? Yeah, you reached out and said, I'd really like to talk with you.
Yeah.
I made that time to talk with you. I was so excited to hear from you.
Yeah.
And then you gave me the gift of your time.
Oh.
And that is something that you can't put a price on. And I treasure those moments. I have a lot of people who will tell you that I'm their friend. But when it really comes down to, I have core people in my life that I know that if I was on the side of the road, that I can pick the phone and call.
Oh yeah. I'm your 3 o'clock in the morning person. Absolutely.
Yes. And I know even after 20 years, if I was in Baltimore and I got stuck, you would be the person that I'd call because I know I could count on you to be there. And when I started to define those people who were in my so-called circle of friends, I found that I was there a lot more for them. And that was because I didn't think I was enough. And it was easier to fill that space with other people and their problems than looking at my own.
So there's a piece of this that is so rich. Yeah. How do you settle on knowing in your inner being, your greater truth? We have that same language, that this is what is enough for you and that you are enough to stand up for yourself. There's a piece of this where you talk time, Jill. I want to touch base on this because you and I met on a Saturday afternoon. So we made the time, right? So oftentimes as women, we say, I don't have time, or we have guilt, or we have shame that attaches to, I can't take the time. So I can't take the time is just a version of guilt. And we say that because we are putting the limitations on. And the women that I work with, I tell them all the time, when you do things that feed your soul, you and I spending time together fed my soul. Do you know how much more time I had the rest of the week? My energy was higher. My productivity was higher. It had me thinking of things about our conversation and just thinking about things differently. When you spend time, take the time, and it's not even taking, right?
No, it's giving yourself the permission to spend that time in a different way that has no expectations on it.
Yeah.
You're not putting expectations there. That's one thing. You and I met simply to meet and connect again.
And have a meatball sub.
Yeah. Yes. And lasagna, eggplant lasagna. Oh,
eggplant lasagna. Yes.
Yeah. And
yeah,
and that's getting rid of the guilt. Somebody telling you that you shouldn't spend an afternoon. Why would you drive 2 hours to go to meet somebody that you haven't seen in 20 years?
Yeah.
Because it made my life richer.
Yeah.
And I'm all about saying yes more than saying no. But I have to watch that because I will also do that in excess. Where it's to a detriment of myself.
Yeah.
But my goal, I said this to my husband last night, is my goal is to say yes more than I say no. It's the same thing I apply as a fundraiser to my donors.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Saying yes, finding the path, being a resource for people. Today, I had a friend who emailed me at 8 in the morning and said, are you up yet? Well, yeah. Here her friend, lost her house last night. I saw that blurb go across my phone that said that the house was on fire and things were being rerouted. I had a feeling. We have those feelings for reasons. Right. I didn't know what that feeling was. I just knew that it just kind of held with me until that phone call this morning where I was able to connect her to the local Red Cross. to help her and her 6-year-old son to get the help that they need. You know, and I look at things, I would never have thought about that before, but it stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I knew that at some point there was going to be something about that. Now, did I know what it was going to be? No, but I was listening. And you have to listen to those things. There's reasons we feel gut messages. When we say we feel it in our gut, you have an uneasy feeling. I'm going to tell you, as a woman, you have got to listen to your own intuition. We are such a powerful force.
Yeah.
And in yoga, we have our chakras. Our gut is all about our feelings, all about our processing. When you have a gut feeling and somebody's making you uneasy, there's a reason you're feeling uneasy. When somebody makes you feel wonderful, you feel that. But if you have a feeling in your gut and it's not good, listen to it. Listen to it.
Well, and even we have those feelings about the path that we're on. And we will put it aside. We'll say, I don't have time for that right now, or I can't make the time, or I just need to do this for 5 more years. I have friends who are counting down their retirement. Right?
Yes. And some of us will be working till we're 90.
Exactly, because that's the world we live in now, because everything changed when we were sleeping. So yeah, so there's this whole thing. It's so powerful, Joe, when you talk about your feelings, because when I work with women, even if it's creating their mission statement or creating their bio or really figuring out what their program is going to be, it's about the feelings. And I say all the time, those of us who come from trauma or have had trauma in our background, we feel more intensely than our counterparts. And those feelings are there for us. And so that whole piece of knowing that if you're feeling something and you are going to just not pay attention to it, you know, you were talking about cancer. That's how, like, not that I'm not going to say that we bring things on ourselves, but our bodies try to do the best they can with what we give them. And even so, like from the thoughts to the heart, you and I we can think the heck out of something. We can have our whole plan figured out, right? And okay, I'm going to do this.
And does it shift 5 minutes before we get on the call? Yes. It happens. And we embrace those, you know, and I think that that's embracing it.
Yeah.
Instead of going, oh my God, we just shifted everything. It's no, embrace it. We have no idea who's listening today. But if we can make a difference for somebody and make them change their perspective about how they feel about themselves or how they are thinking about something else. You know, I have friends that I know I can call on because they will make me shift from my normal way of thinking of boom, 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 boom. They're going to make me think and stretch me, and I grow that way. You're one of those people. Crystal's one of those people. When I need a marketing thing, you know, I know that I can pick up the phone and call Crystal. And I can't tell you how many times we laugh, we cry, and I call her on her shit and she calls me on mine.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of people that we need to have in our life to help us define enough. They're all on that journey to arriving at what is our goal for ourselves, how we're going to contribute to the greater good of this world, how we are going to make a difference and come up with leaving the place and the world a better place than we found it.
Yeah, Crystal just said yes. That is such a good, we are coming up on the end of our time already. It went so fast. But
I know.
That is such a great way to, and yeah, she's saying, yes, we do. We really do, because that is why we were put on this earth, to really walk out it's the journey, walk out the process. I tell people all the time, life isn't about our finish line. Like we're always working, like as Western culture, we work towards something, you know, we have strategic plans and we have goals and how did we make up against our budget? But we know that when we are living in our truth, when we know that we have arrived at enough, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring anymore. I don't know what next week is going to look like, but I know that I am enough to get through what that means. And I just needed to hear me say that.
And it changes. It constantly changes. And as you
Yeah.
You start on your journey, things fall into place.
Yeah.
And it just, that arriving at enough is not for anybody else to define,
Yeah.
but you.
Yeah.
And that's how we set our goals and our expectations for our jobs. It's how we meet those, we have those that we need to meet, or we're underperforming. But it also could mean the difference between, do we have lights on in our house, and are we going to be able to pay for our gas bill this winter? How are we preparing for that? But we can get so caught up in the, oh my God, am I going to have enough? That we lose track of that. Am I going to have enough?
Mm-hmm.
What is that filled with?
Yeah.
Shame, guilt,
Mm-hmm.
blame.
Oh yeah. There's that.
All of that stuff that we live as going through our own traumas. When we start to take all the noise out, we just find out what really makes us tick. Do I need to have a 4-star meal every week? No.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a yogurt for dinner sometimes? Oh yeah. Because you know what? That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
That was enough.
Yeah.
Are there other times when a steak would be better? Sure. But do I have all that time to have a steak? Or do I have time to bake those 20 different dozens of cookies that I want to give at the cookie exchange? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I had my girlfriend the other day say to me, I want you to come to this. She said, we're doing a cookie exchange. I said, I'll be buying my cookies. Now, I love to cook.
Yes.
But I know that I am not going to stress myself out trying to make cookies for everybody, and that I will go and get really nice bought cookies.
Oh, sure. They make
from
really
a great baker who, I am supporting a small business rather than going to the store, stressing myself out, having to clean everything from top to bottom, because I have this thing. I owned a restaurant at one point, and I loved bake sales. I love them. I think they're fabulous. But then you take the Serve Safe certification.
Yes.
And you think about the cat that's walking across the counter, or the dog hair, because he's digging at his ears and it's flying across. Or when we sneeze and we're going in our arm, and then, oh no, we just happen to touch on. I just go all the way down. So, to me, I'm going to make myself feel better, and I'm going to go and enjoy that time, but I'm also going to bring cookies from somebody else who has a licensed kitchen.
So it's interesting that you talk, I know you like the licensed kitchen kit. When you start doing this Serve Safes, there's a lot of things you learn. This is a really good segue though into when you're talking about how we are in the Western world and all of the details. So when we start, we can't care about other people truly and authentically until we care for ourselves.
That is so true.
Because we're just we're draining our energy and loaning it to others. So that's the one piece. The second piece is Linda Friday. She loves it. She's gonna be at the same bakery purchasing the cookies too. So when we start to take those brave steps, we overwhelm ourselves because of all those details, right? And here's where I say where being in community makes all the difference. Jill, you've already taken that test. You know what safe serve looks like. We don't need to learn everything on our own and do it the hard way. We connect up with each other. We connect, we show we care, and we help each other on that journey. And the biggest lesson is you don't plan to hit the $1 million mark. You plan to take a step. And the right
people
a step
in a forward direction. A forward direction. And you have people around you, the people who are in your circle. There's a reason they're in your circle. And you need to use your resources. This is where your community that you're building is truly, we have so much talent around us.
Yes.
If we ask, and asking for help or asking questions is not a bad thing. It's a great thing.
It isn't. And
That's how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we look at a new world for ourselves and helping us to define enough.
And I will, so some people aren't comfortable asking, and that can be part of their journey. So finding
that was me.
Yeah. Finding the right people to start telling your story to. Be very careful, because we were talking boundaries last week with Jody, and it was about putting boundaries around your mission, right? Protecting your mission. So finding people to reach out to that will be supportive of what you want to do in life, and starting to tell others, because when you tell others, then others can say, oh yeah, I know somebody, or, oh, that's important to me too. So there's that piece. I have a friend who has a vision for what they want to do, but they're keeping it very close to the chest. They won't tell anybody. I know the basic idea, but if you hold that close to your chest, nobody can help you. And
no, and I really would
do it
suggest
alone.
That, right. And with that person, I would suggest writing it down, because she has trust issues. Somebody's hurt her in the past. Somebody's held something against her. I can almost, the reason I can say that is because that was me. It was me. And I was so worried about the judgment of wanting, wanting to be the person that I am today. But all the judgments that are out there, in the grand scheme of things, you're the one who has to look at yourself in the mirror. And there were years that I didn't look at myself in the mirror. Years.
So you're amazing. Nobody can be you better than you.
Right. And that's what I would say to the people that, to your friend or your person that you're working with, is really write it down for yourself. Put it somewhere, lock it up, that you can go to it every day and take a look at it, because that is when you start to do that. But once you start to feel confident enough and be able to give a voice to what it is that you want to do, it takes on a whole different energy of its own.
Yeah.
And you can succeed at anything once you arrive at what your enough is for yourself, for you, your family, your job. And the biggest thing, though, is the foundation that you build upon is really starting with you.
It is. That's a great way to end. This has gone so quickly. Joe, what else? You're looking at creating a program for women to be able to explore their journey to arriving at enough.
Yeah, a safe space for women.
Yeah.
A safe space where there is no judgment. And I will shut down judgment very quickly.
Yeah.
I will. I think that we are really, women have not supported each other very well for a long time. And we put, I am just so blessed with people who lift me up.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of community that you have. That's the kind of community that I put myself in. It's not the petty, oh, did you see what she's wearing? Or did you hear what she had to say? I'll shut that down in no time at all. I want people to be able to feel that they're in a safe space, that they can start to explore this for themselves. They are going to be doing the work, and I'm just going to facilitate it.
It changes
and
everything.
People will come out of it feeling very, very good, like I finally do for the first time in my 58 years.
Yeah. And happy birthday last week.
Oh yeah, I love celebrating. I think I should do it for the next 58 days. Yeah.
I know, I love that. Why not? Yes. And so within Sisters Rock and Courage, we also have the Clubhouse community where we're having these types of conversations all the time. Different people are leading them, so look for joining us there. And then this Saturday, and this will be for those watching the replay, we're doing courageous mission statements, because that is the first step of really claiming and owning what's important to you. So that is at 10 a.m. I will put the link down below this, but even if you don't know, there is it's really just a 3-step. So 3 little secrets for creating your mission statement. It's easier than you know. Women do it in 20 minutes. And even if we're not working at a nonprofit or small business, we can still have our personal mission statements, right, Jill?
That's right.
It it puts us in the direction of knowing. Once you start knowing, we talked about the releasing. Once you start knowing what's true for you, what's good for you, what's enough, you can let the other stuff go so much easier.
Yep. And once you get rid of all those expectations of other people, that is a big burden that we carry. And once we realize that it's our voice that matters, we can really start to live.
We do, and share that energy with each other. I know after we left the other Saturday, I was just light as can be. I'm like, this is awesome. This is what life is about. It's about spending time with people that are stepping out into who they are. Yeah. Yeah. Jill, do you have anything else as we close?
No, I just want to thank you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with your group and to be able to give a voice to some of the things that I've been doing, catch up with you, and hopefully inspire someone to take that step to finding what their truth is and arriving at what is enough for them and what that definition and what resonates with them. And I look forward to working with them.
Oh, absolutely. We will be sending them your way. Thank you so much, Jill. And Wolfgang made an appearance again. So
I'll meet you at the Italian market Saturday.
That'd be fun. People that are in the area can meet us there. That'd be fantastic.
That would be great. It would be a lot of fun. Yeah. Just follow me. I have this body because I like food and I will never steer you wrong.
It's true. Liz Hafer is saying, fantastic, Jill. Yeah, we've had a bunch of people in and out. So alrighty, folks, we will be back on Friday. Friday's conversation is going to be finding the courage to overcome the holiday blues. Holiday blues can be so tough.
If that's not a figuring out the expectations for yourself, I don't know what is, but holidays are tough. Holidays are tough. As joyful as they are, we fill a lot of space because of expectations and judgments.
Yeah, so that we just talked about boundaries. Now we're talking today about arriving at enough, and now we're going to cover a holiday blues. So do join us.
Perfect.
I know, right? Jill, it's been so much fun. Alrighty. Take care, everybody. See you next time.